Imagine reaching your 50s or 60s, believing that you have done everything right financially. You worked hard for decades, saved diligently, invested whenever possible, and now you think you are safe. But what if everything you thought about financial security after 50 was a lie? Not a harmless lie, but one that could quietly destroy your retirement, drain your savings, and leave you struggling when you should be enjoying life. The shocking truth is that most people over 50 are falling for a financial myth so pervasive that it affects millions. It is the lie that says, "I am financially secure because I have a good income and some savings." On the surface, it seems reasonable. After all, income is tangible, savings are measurable, and pensions or retirement accounts exist. But in reality, financial security is far more complex than simply having money in the bank or a paycheck coming in every month. Here is why this myth is so dangerous. Many people assume that because they have been responsible, disciplined, and diligent over the years, their money is safe and will carry them comfortably through retirement. They assume that savings will last, investments will perform as expected, and no unexpected expenses will derail their plans. But the financial landscape is constantly changing, interest rates fluctuate, inflation erodes purchasing power, healthcare costs rise, taxes shift, and markets are unpredictable. Relying solely on past efforts and income is like building a house on sand. It looks stable until the tide comes in. One real scenario involves a couple in their early 60s who had always been careful with money. They had a solid combined income, a 401, and some savings. When they retired, they believed they were financially secure. Within 2 years, a combination of rising medical bills, underperforming investments, and inflation cut their net worth nearly in half. They realized too late that having income and savings was not the same as being truly prepared for retirement realities. Another example is a man who assumed his home equity alone would secure his future. He had paid off his mortgage and believed that if he ever needed money, selling the house would be the solution. However, the real estate market shifted, property taxes rose, and unexpected maintenance costs mounted. By the time he considered selling, he discovered that relying solely on his home as a financial safety net was a dangerous gamble. The biggest financial lie is reinforced by overconfidence. Many people in their 50s and 60s believe that decades of earning and saving automatically equal wealth security. They see their bank accounts, their retirement statements, and think, "I am fine." But overconfidence often blinds people to hidden risks like market volatility, tax implications, and long-term healthcare costs. Healthcare is one of the largest threats to retirement security, yet it is often underestimated. Medical expenses rise dramatically after 50, and insurance often does not cover everything. One couple underestimated the cost of long-term care by tens of thousands. Their assumptions that Medicare and savings would be enough left them scrambling and forced them to liquidate investments prematurely. Ignoring healthcare planning is one of the most common ways the financial security myth backfires. Inflation is another silent enemy. Many people assume that their savings will retain value over decades, but the cost of living increases over time. A retiree who calculated his nest egg 10 years ago might discover that the purchasing power of that same amount is now drastically reduced. For someone relying solely on fixed income investments or savings, this hidden erosion can create a financial shortfall that is difficult to recover from. Investment assumptions are also part of the lie. People often believe that past investment performance guarantees future growth. A portfolio that grew steadily for 20 years may not perform the same way in the next decade. One man relied heavily on a single mutual fund, confident that past returns would continue. When a sudden market correction hit, he lost a significant portion of his retirement funds. Believing that investments are guaranteed is a dangerous misconception that can destroy decades of effort. Taxes are another area where the myth falls apart. Many retirees assume that withdrawals from retirement accounts are simple or predictable. In reality, tax laws change and withdrawals can trigger significant tax liabilities. One retiree withdrew his entire 401 at once, thinking he had calculated the taxes correctly, only to face an unexpectedly large tax bill that wiped out a large portion of his savings. Proper tax planning is critical to avoid turning the secure nest egg into a financial trap. Another aspect of this myth is underestimating lifestyle costs. People often calculate retirement needs based on basic living expenses, forgetting that retirement is also about travel, hobbies, and unexpected events. One woman in her early 60s thought her savings were more than enough, but when she factored in travel, home maintenance, and leisure, she discovered her retirement income fell short. Ignoring lifestyle planning is a subtle way this myth sabotages financial security. Debt is another contributor. Many people over 50 still carry credit card balances, personal loans, or even mortgages. They assume that because income is stable, debt is manageable. But high-interest debt silently eats away at wealth, especially when retirement reduces the inflow of money. A couple carrying credit card balances and car loans found that by the time they retired, interest payments were consuming their savings faster than they could replenish them. Debt undercuts the illusion of financial security. Even more insidious is emotional financial behavior. People often hold onto investments for sentimental reasons, avoid tough decisions about spending, or delay creating a solid plan because they believe everything is fine. One retiree refused to adjust his portfolio despite declining performance, thinking that the past success would continue. Emotional attachment and complacency often reinforce the financial lie and leave retirees vulnerable. So, what is the truth? Financial security after 50 is not about how much you earn or how much you have in the bank. It is about strategy, planning, and risk management. True financial security requires understanding your expenses, planning for healthcare, diversifying investments, managing taxes, eliminating high-interest debt, and creating multiple streams of income. It also requires discipline, regular review, and the willingness to adapt to changing circumstances. Here is a scenario that illustrates the difference between myth and reality. Two couples in their early 60s each had similar incomes, savings and retirement accounts. Couple A believed they were secure because they had always earned well and saved steadily. Couple B actively reviewed their investments, eliminated debt, planned for healthcare costs, diversified income streams, and updated their estate plans. 10 years later, Couple A struggled to cover unexpected expenses and market volatility, while Couple B enjoyed financial freedom, travel, and comfort. The difference was not income, it was strategy and preparation. Even small steps before retirement can make a massive difference. Maximizing retirement contributions, reviewing investments, establishing emergency funds, and planning for taxes and healthcare can protect decades of savings. Diversifying income streams through passive income or part-time work adds a safety net that turns uncertainty into stability. These are the practical, actionable steps that separate reality from myth. Another critical aspect is estate planning. People often assume that their wealth will naturally pass to heirs without issues, but failing to create proper wills, trusts, or beneficiary designations can lead to costly disputes and unexpected taxes. One real case involved a retiree who passed away without updating beneficiaries. Most of the estate went into probate, leaving heirs with only a fraction of what was intended. Protecting wealth through proper estate planning is part of facing reality, not believing the myth. Healthcare, investments, taxes, lifestyle planning, debt management, and estate planning all converge to determine whether financial security is real or illusory. Biggest financial lie after 50 is convincing yourself that earning and saving alone are enough. Reality is far more complex, and ignoring it can have devastating consequences. If you are watching this, take a moment to reflect. Are your retirement plans based solely on income and savings statements, or do you have a clear strategy that accounts for risks, taxes, healthcare, and lifestyle? Every gap you identify today is an opportunity to act before it is too late. Proactive planning before 60 can prevent years of stress, struggle, and regret. Even after 50, it is not too late to act. Start by reviewing your investments, calculating realistic retirement needs, creating emergency funds, eliminating high-interest debt, and planning for healthcare. Consult trusted advisors if needed, but never ignore the reality. Taking control now turns the myth of security into true financial stability. If this video opened your eyes, hit subscribe to The Wealth After 50, tap the notification bell, and share it with someone you know who might be relying on this dangerous myth. Leave a comment below telling us which part of your financial plan you need to rethink. The sooner you act, the better your future will be. Remember, financial security after 50 is not automatic. It is built through awareness, strategy, discipline, and action. Believing the lie puts decades of hard work at risk. Facing the truth, planning carefully, and taking decisive steps now ensures that your retirement years are secure, comfortable, and stress-free. Do not wait. Start today, because the reality you ignore now could become the regret of a lifetime.